Hare Krishna, thank you for joining. Let's do Radha Madhav. Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunj Bihari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jai Kunj Bihari. Jai Gopijana Vallabha, Jai Yogir Vardhari, Jai Gopijana Vallabha, Jai Yogir Vardhari. Shodanandan Vraj Jana Ranjana, Shodanandan Vraj Jana Ranjana, Yamuna Tiruvanachari, Jai Radha Madhava, Jaya Kunj Bihari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Agyan Timirnasya Gyan Anjana Shalakya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tudati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapada Kamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavascha Shri Rupam Sagrijatam Sagana Raghunatham Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Krishna Setam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitam Scha. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deen Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kant Radha Kant Namastute Tapta Kanchan Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Rishabhanu Sutadevi Pran Mami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatu Brehescha Kripa Sindhuvevacha Patitana Pavnebhyo Vaishnavyo Namo 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 Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Śrīmad Bhaktivedanta Swami Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Mukham Kroti Vachalam Pangum Langyate Grim Yat Kirpataham Vande Shri Gurundin Taranam Paramananda Madham Shri Janeshram Hari Om Tassat Narayan Namaskritya Naram Cheva Naruttamam Devim Saraswati Vyasam Tato Jayamaduriyat Nashta Prashabdarishu Nitya Bhavasaya Bhagavati Uttam Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Nishtaki. Jai. So thank you all for joining. Just to recap from last time, we were saying that Srila Prabhupada was telling us that don't over endeavor for comforts, prioritize simple living and high thinking, because you're wasting too much time just looking for comfort, and then you forget the real purpose of life. Because material comforts, material things, when you're chasing after them, they have a tendency, when you fulfill one material comfort or material desire, it will lead to many other desires. Just the way material desires work, that you want one thing and then it will open up the doors for many other things. So you want a big house, and then you will want a lot of nice things in the house, and then you start competing with other people. Just an example. You want a big car, and then you want an even bigger car. It never stops. There is no end. You think, I'll be happy if I have this, or if I have this, I'll be happy, but you won't be happy, because your desires, insatiated. They are always looking for something bigger and better, and then we could just spend all our life, just chasing after these mundane, material, temporary, most important, temporary things that only there for now, and then all we left behind, and we didn't fulfill the real purpose. Okay, so let's go. We're on 6. Verse 6 was what we missed last time. Evam svachite swat eva siddha atma priyotho bhagwan anantha tam nivrito niyata ratho vajeta samsara hetu parmascha yatra. So evam svachite, in one's own heart, swataha, by his omnipotency, eva, certainly, siddha, fully represented, atma, the super soul, priyaha, very dear, artaha, substance, bhagwan, the supreme personality of Godhead, anantaha, the eternal, unlimited, tam, unto him, nirvritaha, being detached from the world, niyat, permanent, artaha, the supreme gain, bhajate, one must worship, samsara hetu, the cause of conditioned state of existence, uparamaha, cessation, cha, certainly, yatra, in which. Thus being fixed, one must render service unto the super soul situated in one's own heart by his omnipotency, because he is the almighty personality of Godhead, eternal and unlimited. He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshipping him, one can end the cause of conditioned state of existence. Just want to read this again. Thus being fixed, one must render service unto the super soul situated in one's own heart by his omnipotency, because he is the almighty personality Godhead himself, eternal and unlimited. He is the ultimate goal of life, and by worshipping him, one can end the cause of the conditioned state of existence. So as confirmed in the Bhagavad-Gita 1861, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Shri Krishna, is the all-pervading, omnipresent super soul. Therefore, one who is a yogi can worship only him, because he is the substance and not illusion. Every living creature is engaging in the service of something else. A living being constitutes position is to render service, but in the atmosphere of Maya or illusion or the conditional state of existence, the conditioned soul seeks the service of illusion. Conditioned soul works in the service of his temporary body, bodily relatives like the wife and children, and the necessary paraphernalia for maintaining the body and bodily relations, such as the house, land, wealth, society, and country. But he does not know that all such renderings of service are totally illusory. As we have discussed many times before, this material world is itself an illusion, like a mirage in the desert. In the desert there is an illusion of water, and the foolish animals become entrapped by such an illusion and run after water in the desert, although there is no water at all. But because there is no water in the desert, one does not conclude that there is no water at all. The intelligent person knows well that there is certainly water in the seas and oceans, but such vast reservoirs of water are far, far away from the desert. One should therefore search for water in the vicinity of seas and oceans and not in the desert. So basically what we're saying, we have a dharma, we have a duty to fulfill to the family, that is not a problem. We have to look after the kids, we have to look after the wife, and vice versa. And we need house, we need some wealth, we need some society, we need some belongingness to a country. But what's our motivation? Is that our goal? Is that where we're looking for all the happiness? That this is what Srila Prabhupada is saying, that don't be just stuck just on that. There's something beyond all that as well. Although these are like our duties, necessities of life, especially in the Grihastha life, but there is something above that, because a lot of people are just at that level. That's it. Just even animals look after their partners and the children. So we're just doing what the animals are doing, but for humans there's something above that. Every one of us is searching after real happiness in life, and when we try to find it there, but it's not there, that's not real happiness. Namely, eternal life, eternal or unlimited knowledge, and unending blissful lives, Satchit Anand. But foolish people who have no knowledge of the substance search of the reality of life in the illusion. This material body does not endure eternally, and everything in relation with these temporary bodies, such as the wife, children, society and country, also changes along with the change of body. So although it's called illusion means temporary. So we're always changing bodies, we're always changing wives, changing children. It's cyclic. These cycles are going on and on. So we're not just like this is be all end all of our life. That is just something that we do when we have a human body. It's not like that is our complete goal. This is called samsara, or repetition of birth, death, old age and disease. We would like to find a solution for all these problems of life, but we don't know the way. Herein it is suggested that anyone who wants to make an end to these miseries of life, namely repetition of birth, death, disease and old age, must take to this process of worship the Supreme Lord and not others, as it is also ultimately suggested in the Bhagavad-Gita 865. If we at all want to end the cause of our conditioned life, we must take to the worship of Lord Krishna, Shri Krishna, who is present in everyone's heart by his natural affection for all living beings, who are actually the parts and parcels of the Lord, as mentioned in 1861. The baby in the lap of his mother is naturally attached to the mother, and the mother is attached to the child. But when the child grows up and becomes overwhelmed by circumstances, he gradually becomes detached from the mother. Although the mother always expects some sort of service from the grown-up child and equally affectionate toward her child, even though the child is forgetful. You find that especially mothers, right? When they will have pictures of their grown-up sons, unmarried. You'll have pictures of their sons, as a profile. And when they get married, obviously they have their own lives now. They have to, spend time with the wife. Then maybe they're not giving as much time. It's not possible. Once you're married, you cannot make time as you used to before. And then they may have, picture, a profile of the child when he's a baby. The mothers are reminiscing my child, but that's where things are. The child, they're still looking for that child, but the child is now grown up. He has his own responsibilities. He will have his own children, right? Isn't it? So things never remain the same. That we cannot have what we had when he had the child when he was a few months old or a couple of years old. That things change. This is the material life that is constantly changing. Time is active here. Time changes everything all the time. Everything is changing, and sometimes because of the heart, because of the emotions, it's difficult to accept it. But it is there whether we accept it or not. And that's cruelty of life. That we cannot have the same thing. We can't go back in time. Things move on. So similarly, because we are all parts and parcel of the Lord is always affectionate to us, and He always tries to get us back home, back to Godhead. But we, the conditioned souls, do not care for Him and run instead after the illusory bodily connections. We must therefore extricate ourselves from all illusory connections of the world and seek reunion with the Lord, trying to render service unto Him, because He is the ultimate truth. Actually, we are hankering after Him as a child seeks the mother. That's how we should be. And to search out the Supreme Person of Godhead, we need not go anywhere else, because the Lord is within our hearts already. This does not suggest, however, that we should not go to the places of worship, namely the temple, churches and mosques. Such holy places of worship are also occupied by the Lord, because the Lord is omnipresent. For the common man, these holy places are centers of learning about the science of God. When the temples are devoid of activities, the people in general become uninterested in such places, and consequently the mass of people gradually become godless, and a godless civilization is the result. Such a hellish civilization artificially increases the conditions of life, and existence becomes intolerable for everyone. The foolish leaders of a godless civilization try to devise various plans to bring about peace and prosperity in the godless world under a patent trademark of materialism, and because such attempts are illusory only, the people elect incompetent blind leaders one after another who are incapable of offering solutions. If we want at all to end this anomaly of a godless civilization, we must follow the principle of revealed scriptures like the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and follow the instruction of a person like Shri Shukdev Swami, who has no attraction for material gain. So Krishna came 5,000 years ago as himself, and he established Dharma. Right? That's why Krishna comes down to destroy the miscreants and establish Dharma. Destroy the miscreants, because when you want to grow something, then you have to take out the weeds, right, off the ground. You just clean the area, take out all the weeds, make the ground fertile, fresh, and then you could put the seeds in and let the plants or the flowers or the vegetables, whatever you want, grow. Similarly, when Krishna comes, he gets rid of all the weeds, which are the demoniac mentality people. He gets rid of them, and then he establishes Dharma or Dharmic people in that area. But so Krishna himself established Dharma 5,000 years ago, and now, Dharma slowly declines with time. It declines, and now you can see what's going on around the world. It's ridiculous. Things are happening. So if God himself comes and establishes Dharma, and then Dharma declines, what chance have these people got that we elect or put in power to establish Dharma? If God cannot establish Dharma permanently, then neither can these people. Really can't do it, especially if they're not dharmic themselves. So at least if they are dharmic, we have some chance, at least for a small period of time, if not over a long period. But you have to keep electing the right people that are dharmic, and who are giving the right message and putting right process in action. Right? So this was 2.6. Yeah, just says that we are looking for real happiness where it doesn't exist. Dukkhalam ashashvatam, temporary and full of unhappiness, and that's where we're trying to find happiness. Very unlikely. Kastam tav andritya pranusentam rite pashun astim nam kruyat pasyan janam patitam vetranyam swakarmajan pritapan jushanam. So kaha, who else tam that too but anadrita, by neglecting, par anu jintam, transcendental thoughts, rite without, pashun the materialist, astim in the non-permanent, nam name, kuryat will adopt, pashyan seeking definitely, janam the general mass of people, patitam fallen, Vaitrayanam in Vaitrani, the river of suffering, Svakaram Chan, produced from one's own work, Paritapan, suffering, Jushanam, being overtaken by. So who else but the gross materialist will neglect such transcendental thought and take to the non-permanent names only, seeing the mass of people fallen in the river of suffering as the consequence of accruing the results of their own work. So Srila Prabhupada explains that in the Vedas it is said that persons who are attached to demigods, the exclusion of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, are like the animals who follow the herdsman even though they are taken to the slaughterhouse. The materialists, like animals, also don't know how they are being misdirected by neglecting the transcendental thought of the Supreme Person. No one can remain vacant of thoughts. It is said that an idle brain is a devil's workshop, because a person who cannot think in the right way must think of something which may bring about disaster. The materialists are always worshipping some minor demigods, although this is condemned in the Bhagavad-Gita 7.20. As long as a person is illusioned by material gains, he petitions the respective demigods to draw some particular benefits, which is after all illusory and non-permanent. The enlightened transcendentalist is not captivated by such illusory things. Therefore, he is always absorbed in the transcendental thought of Supreme in different stages of realization, namely Brahman, Paramatma and Bhagavan. So at least one of them, or better all of them. In the previous verse, it is suggested that one should think of the super soul, which is one step higher than the impersonal thought of Brahman, as it was suggested in the case of contemplating the Virat Rup of the personality of Godhead. So intelligent persons who can see properly may look into the general conditions of the living entities who are wandering in the cycle of 8.4 million species of life, as well as in different classes of human beings. It is said that there is an everlasting belt of water called the river Vetrani at the entrance of the plutonic planet of Yamraj, who punishes sinners in different manners after being subjected to such sufferings. A sinner is awarded a particular species of life according to his deeds in the past. Such living entities are punished by Yamraj, are seen in different varieties of conditioned life. Some of them are in heaven, some of them are in hell, some of them are brahmanas, and some of them are misers, but no one is happy in this material world. And all of them are either class A, B or C prisoners suffering because of their own deeds. The Lord is impartial to all circumstances of the sufferings of the living entities, but to one who takes shelter at his Lord's feet, the Lord gives proper protection and he takes such a living entity back home, back to God, back home, back to himself. So this is very interesting. So according to our karma, we will get some designation, whether it's a brahmana or an animal or whatever. So we are born with a certain amount of comfort, right? We are born with a certain amount of comfort, yet we still won't be satisfied. We have this amount of comfort. We're born in a rich family, in a Vaishnava family. There is some comfort there. There's a mental or physical comfort, but then we're still looking for more anyway. We still can, we're still looking for more. So Srila Prabhupada explaining that if you're born in a comfortable position or a not so comfortable position, then he's still a prisoner in this material world, because this is a prison. The material world is a prison. And all it is, you have a very class A cell or a class B cell or a class C cell, right? You're still stuck in this. Even like if you consider a train, you're still stuck in the train, whether you have a class A bogie or a B or C. I mean, they have trains now which cost a fortune in India, that you can have the whole bogie to yourself. It has a bedroom and it has a bathroom, and you get one person, dedicated to serve you throughout your journey, and they take you here and they take you there, right? You got the whole dabba, the whole carriage. You can have the whole carriage to yourself, and it's like a lounge. It's got everything, and a dining area. You got everything, you got privacy. You got everything to yourself. But you're still in that train, you're still confined to that. It's still like a prison, right? You're in there for that period of time. A bit comfortable, but you're still in there. And especially a prison house, it doesn't matter how comfortable it is, it's still a prison. You're still in there, and you'll still get all those birth, death, old age and disease problems, because that's the nature. It doesn't matter which class you're born in. So the idea is to get out, take shelter. So do not ask Krishna for material things, right? One thing after another, one thing after another. Ask him to give you shelter at his lotus feet. This is what we should be asking. We should be asking for shelter. There's so many prayers that you get, Lord Shiva, Lord Brahma, the Vedas, right? They're all praying for shelter at the lotus feet of the Lord. And this is what we're going to learn from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. There's so many prayers in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and they're all asking for shelter at the lotus feet. That's all we want, shelter. And 8. Kechid sva dehantra hirdya vakashe pradesha matram purusham vasantam Chaturbhujam kanjarathanga shankha gadadaram dharanaya smaranti. So kechit others, svadeha anta, within this body, hirdya avakshe, in the region of the heart, pradesh matram, measuring only 8 inches, purusham, the person regarded, vasantam, residing, chaturbhujam, with 4 hands, with kanj, lotus, rath, ang, the wheel of a chariot, shank, conch shell, gada, dharam, and with a club in the hand, dharanya, conceiving in that way, samaranti, do meditate upon him, or think of him. Others conceive of the person regarded residing within the body, in the region of the heart, and measuring only 8 inches, with 4 hands, carrying a lotus, a wheel of a chariot, a conch shell, and a club, respectively. So the all-pervading person regarded resides as Paramatma in the heart of each and every living entity. The measurements of the localized personality of Godhead is estimated to expand from the ring finger to the end of the thumb, more or less 8 inches. The form of the Lord described in this verse with distribution of different symbols beginning from the lower right hand up and down to the lower left hand, with lotus, wheel of a chariot, conch shell, and club respectively, and that is called Janardhan. If it's in that order, you get Vishnu forms, so many Vishnu forms, Vaikuntha, and the order will be different, and then they're given a different name. Or the plenary portion of the Lord who controls the general mass. So Jana Ardhan. There are many other forms of the Lord with various situations of the symbols of lotus, conch shell, etc. And they are differently known as, so according to the variation, they're known as Purushottam, Achyuta, Narsimha, Trivikrama, Rishikesha, Keshava, Madhava, Aniruddha, Vardhumna, Sankarshan, Sridhar, Vasudev, Damodar, Janardhan, Narayan, Hari, Padmanabh, Vaman, Madhusudan, Govinda, Krishna, Vishnumurti, Adokshaj, and Upendra. These 24 forms of the localized personal Godhead are worshipped in different parts of the planetary system. And in each system, there is an incarnation of the Lord having a different Vaikuntha planet in the spiritual sky. So these forms have their own Vaikuntha planets, which is called the Paravyoma. There are many other hundreds and scores of different forms of the Lord, and each and every one of them has a particular planet in the spiritual sky, of which this material sky is only a fragmental offshoot. The Lord exists as Purusha, or the male enjoyer, although there is no comparing him to any male form in the material world. But all such forms are Advaita, none different from one another, and each of them is eternally young. The young Lord with 4 hands is nicely decorated as further described below. So Srila Prabhupada says that instead of asking to see God, why don't people ask what is the qualification to see God? We need to qualify it by greed and eagerness to see the Lord. Super soul is known as Janardhan in the heart. Each of the 420 Vishnu has a certain role to play. So, when we ask why is there so many different, they all play different roles. So they have different positions of the lotus, conch shell, etc. And they have different roles. Every incarnation, there's like nothing there without meaning. There's a meaning to everything, and there's a role to everything. But as I said before, that all these incarnations or expansions, they are limited, right? Because they have a certain role. Whereas Krishna is unlimited. He can do. Krishna is independent. Is Swarat. He is not bound by any boundaries or any roles. He can enjoy with the devotees, and he can serve them on a chariot. He can do whatever he wants. He can be in Vrindavan, he can be in Mathura, he can be in Dwarka, different positions. It's not like it's just in one area. He can do and go wherever he wants, and that's Lord Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Whereas these forms, they are limited to their role and their name. Okay. Prasan Vaktram Nalina Yaktakshanam Kadamba Kinjal Pashangavasam Lasan Maharatan Hiranmaya Nagandam Spuran Maharatan Krita Kundalam. So Prasan expresses happiness, Vaktram mouth, Nalin Ayat spread like the petals of a lotus, Ikshanam eye, Kadamba Kadam flower, Kinjalka saffron, Pishang yellow, Vasasam garments, Lasat hanging, Maharatan valuable jewels, Hiranmaya made of gold, Angadam ornament, Spurat glowing, Maharatan again valuable jewels, Krita headdress, Kundalam earring. So this is a description of the super soul. His mouth expresses his happiness, his eyes spread like the petals of a lotus, and his garments yellowish like the saffron of a katamba flower, bedecked with valuable jewels. His ornaments are all made of gold, set with jewels, and he wears a glowing headdress and earrings. This is what how he's described, and what a beautiful form it is. Anudra Rit Pankaj Karinikalya Yogeshwara Stapit Padapalvam Shri Lakshanam Kastubharatan Kandaram Amlan Lakshmya Van Malya Chitam. So Unidra, blooming, Hrit, heart, Pankaj, lotus flower, Karinka, alya, on the surface of the world, Yogeshwara, the great mystics, Asthapit, placed, Pad, Palvam, lotus feet, Shri, the gods of fortune, or a beautiful calf, Lakshanam, marked in that way, Kastuba, the Kastuba jewel, Ratan, or the jewels, Kandaram, on the shoulder, Amlan, quite fresh, Lakshmya, beauty, one Malya, by a flower garland, Achitam, spread over. So his lotus feet are placed over the whorls of the lotus-like hearts of great mystics. On his chest is the Kastuba jewel, engraved with a beautiful calf, and there are other jewels. On his shoulders, his complete torso is garlanded with the fresh flowers. So this is the beauty of the Lord in the four-armed form. The ornaments, flowers, clothing, and all other decorations on the transcendental body of the Personality Godhead are identical with the body of the Lord. None of them are made of material ingredients, otherwise there would be no chance of decorating the body of the Lord. As such, in the Paravyoma, spiritual varieties are also distinguished from the material variegatedness. So this like material variety, there is spiritual variety as well. So anyway, we can stop here, I think. Stop. Yeah?
See how big is the next one?
Well, it's 39 now. So don't think they're big. You want to do this one?
Leave it.
Leave it, sure. Okay. Wonderful. Thank you so much. And yeah, let's hear from yourselves. Pundikaksh Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanas Pranam. There is so much in this purports. I mean, it's very hard to remember each point, but essence, I think, is for me is like Supreme Personality of Godhead has his own form, though there are multiple expansions of the Supreme Lord, and he has his own abode, and he is the one who is giving us everything. So rather than going to demigods, you can actually go to the Lord himself for anything. I mean, I like that verse, Akama Sarvakama Sarvakama Moksha Bhi. So even for material desire is there, material desire is not there, or you're looking for liberation. For anything, going to Supreme Lord is good because he gives you what you deserve rather than what you desire. So we have seen so many pastimes where Lord has taken away so many things. When you go to Krishna, he takes away rather than giving you, but he'll purify you by taking something away, but gives you when it is required as well. As we read from Arjuna's pastime, that he has been given that opulence only because he has to use it in the war, and after that he took it away again from him. So Krishna gives you everything, and completely you can depend on Sri Krishna only. That's the only viewpoint from me, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Yeah, thank you. Very nice, Prabhu. Yeah, absolutely. It'll give you what you need at the time, and then when you don't need it or it becomes an impediment or hindrance to your bhakti, then he can, be ready for him to take it away as well at the right time. He's Hari. He can just take away any opulence, anything, because it's not helping your bhakti.
Yeah, true. Thank you very much.
Whereas like you said, the demigods, they just give you, you please them and they'll give you, and they're not concerned about the, what the resultant will be from that. They'll give you because you please them, you asked for it, here you go. But Krishna will only give you.
They're just passing the parcel from Krishna to us.
Yeah, that's right. I also explained as they just take it from Krishna, pass it to you without thinking that is this right for you or not. They just pass it to you. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Kiran Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. I think we'll be here till midnight discussing this, but so many points. It clearly tells us that we're chasing tinsel and trash. We fail to find the divinity or the Lord in our hearts. And this should be the ultimate goal of our life. We look for happiness and pleasures elsewhere when the happiness is situated right under our very nose. A little satirical story. God goes to see a sage. This is just a story. God doesn't need to see anybody. He knows everything. He said, everybody comes to see me. I'm so fed up, they're taking up so much of my time. So what to do? God says to the sage. The sage says, well, you're in the cave, they come find you. You're in the temple, they come and find you there. Go and hide somewhere where they can't find you. He said, okay, where shall I hide? God says, hide in people's hearts. They'll never look for you there. And so it's typical, isn't it? We fail to look in the one place where God resides, right under our very noses. He resides there the size of an 8-inch entity. Saffron clothes, flowing locks of hair, kastuba jewelry. And he's always been there. He's been with us permanently. But we look for the divine in different places. And there's also a mention of the temples. The temples are not doing their duties. They're not complying with dharmic values. There can be a nice place of show and opulence, but they're not doing community, educational, and duties to serve the community and cohesion. So there is such a failure in humanity, and we are like the Pied Piper of Hamelin, where we're like the rats. We're following this Pied Piper. Of course, he wants to get rid of the rats in the village. We are still the rats because we smell, because we are tainted with the paraphernalia of the material world. But instead of the Pied Piper, follow Krishna's flute. Stop being like a lemon and jumping over the cliff because we follow the other goats and the other sheep. We have to be our own person and follow the divine, because many will try and walk the path, but only a few will get there. And hence, Krishna is the thing that we should be striving towards. And we can see Krishna in our own ways. We see him as Mohan, we see him as Janardhan. Ultimately, it's Krishna. Whoever it is, see the divine and put that kastuba jewel in your heart and never lose sight of him, because he is the one who will take you to Vaikuntha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much, Prabhu. Absolutely right. Okay. Vijay Prabhu and Mataji, if she's there.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Yes, I found that some of the main points that registered with me was that as householders, we get to do lots of things. We have to do lots of things, and we easily get mixed up with what's important, what's not, and we get carried away by the temporary, as you mentioned. So we have to be very careful with that. I think it's always a constant check and balance, and make sure we don't get carried away with the wrong things. They start becoming more important than the real things. And this thing that what we should be asking is for the shelter at the lotus feet of Krishna. Such a simple and such a highly important thing to remember, and we can even forget that at times. That's my take on it. The other thing that the size of 8 inches that's mentioned. How do we explain that to somebody if they're talking about other species and smaller species? How can 8 inches be there? That's always a little bit puzzling. I don't know if you have any ideas on what to advise on that.
Yeah, I think just referring to the human body at the moment, and he also just say that the thumb and the ring finger. Let's just say. I mean, some people may have smaller hands. Ladies will have smaller hands. It's just something like a standard is given. But obviously, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like small, even an atom. The Paramatma is there in the atom as well, and you're right, can't be 8 inches. So it's there. Is this? I mean, we're talking about human beings at the moment, an average size human, and that's what Srila Prabhupada is referring to.
Very yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's in every atom, is any leaf and flower is there.
Yes. Amazing. Yes. Thank you.
Okay. Ajay?
Yeah, Hare Krishna. Yeah, she just referred to Vijay Prabhu's question. Yeah, Paramatma adjusts to every species. So humans, general humans, about 8 inches, but an ant we just like whatever their equivalent of a thumb, that sort of measurements Paramatma adjusts so it can different universes Paramatma will be bigger because the species will be bigger, so the Paramatma, our Paramatma we know is a Janardhan, but there are different versions of Paramatma as well, so different names. So that were was given any descriptions there. So yeah, so Paramatma is very amazing. He's always maintaining us. He very merciful, doesn't give up on us even if we're ignoring him. He's always, it's like that example again of two birds in a tree. We just need to, Paramatma is looking towards us. We're not looking towards him. So we need to shift our direction towards him. And then we can begin our devotional service and actually try and advance. Actually, that Karma is an interesting point where it's explained that when one actually properly advances in the bhakti, the Paramatma within becomes Krishna himself. Actually, so then that's why when we're saying like the pure devotees, it's Krishna instructing them because they become so purified that Krishna himself takes over their activities. Yeah, so yeah, that's in these verses. It's key that we understand that it is very easy to be conditioned, very easy to be misled, and if we do get comfortable, then things can go awry very quickly. Because that is the whole point. Like I mentioned, Dukla Shashvatam. It's just we shouldn't be thinking to ourselves, "Oh, we want to stay here." We can. We can be doing good, but that doesn't mean we're more powerful than Maya as such. We have to kind of understand that it's the basics, but we forget sometimes we are the minute part and parcel of Krishna. Krishna controls Maya. We don't control Maya, so we need to take shelter of Krishna, take shelter of Guru, and that's how we kind of keep going, really. Because if we get comfortable, if we decide that we want to do things our way as opposed to how they should be done by Guru Sadhu Shastra, then that's how we get misled, and that's how even somebody who could be in the movement for a long time can start doing strange things because they've forgotten the basics as such in one sense. If the foundation is weak, then everything else crumbles. So we just have to keep doing. We have the bhakti devotional service. It's been set out for us how to do it. Then we just need to ensure we build on our devotional service as opposed to concocting our own ideas, and that's how we keep progressing. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Yeah. Vijay Prabhu, sorry, was Mataji there or?
No, sorry, she's got some cooking to do, so she's having to do that.
All right. Don't want to miss it out.
Okay. No, thank you.
Radharani?
Hare Krishna, everyone. My pranams to all of you. Yes, we've been hearing till now in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. What's the purpose? We have to hear. When we're hearing, it's not just for the purpose of hearing. After hearing, we have to contemplate, we have to do the mananam, and then it is nidhi dhyasanam. Then we have to apply what we have contemplated on, what essence we have got, the real nectar we have, the results, we have to apply them to ourselves. And we have to worship the Lord. And why we have to worship the Lord, it has been stressed again and again in the verses, in variety of contexts, that we have to worship the Lord for the purpose of getting the shelter of the Lord. We have to remember the differences between the needs and our wants. Problem is, we just go after the wants and we get entangled, and that's why the worship of the God is put into the background, put in a corner. Like they say, Krishna, like it was said in the last session, that Krishna is like kept in a corner by most of us in our lives. And they say that we all want the Ram Rajya, isn't it? From time immemorial, we have been hearing this thing. But problem is, people want the Ram Rajya, but without Ram. They all think that they will become the rulers, they will become, the little kings of their little castles, but they don't want Ram, they don't want the authority of Bhagwan in there. And also, when you hear about the presence of Super Soul, how he is present as Paramatma, his Swarup is described, and his Swarup is completely identical to that of God. He is Tadiya, as they say, and he is always fresh, he's Amalam. So now, from the earlier chapter, we were told to focus on, meditate upon the Virat Roop. If you haven't got any affection or attraction for Lord, now it has come to the next stage, which is Paramatma, and it is better than Brahman because it is not impersonal thought. So slowly, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam is taking us closer to Bhagwan, and each verse is giving us so much. And if we can just remember that end of the day, it is Lord which our souls are hankering for. It is the Lord and nothing else. These are the stages, the steps. And because we are in Krishna consciousness, all of us, so we understand that Lord is the shelter for all of us. But for preaching purposes, these purports are so important to all of us. If we can remember what to convey to the persons we meet, and according to their needs, we can just give them one little point. We can be an instrument in starting the bhakti in their personal journeys, and that is the biggest seva. And Krishna says that he loves who help propagate his name to others, who share his names with others. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Yeah, so verse 11 will discuss the impersonalists, the yogis, and the devotees. What is the difference between the three, and what are they looking for, and how do they benefit? So we'll expand on that. So do you want to rush on that verse 11? We will we'll discuss that beginning on Friday. So catch up then. Thank you all so much for your input. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Prema.
Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare
Thank you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.